What is up, Rivals? My name is Sawcasm, and welcome back to yet another episode of Rival Kingdoms. Today we're taking a look at every single nature ancient in the game. I almost got in the bad habit of calling them Earth Ancients, but they're not. They're nature ancients. So with that said, don't forget to leave a like rating and subscribe if you're new for some more Rival Kingdoms. Let's get into the video. First ancient that we're going to be taking a look at is Viscaria, one that people absolutely love. That show me Viscaria, show me Viscaria. He looks like a total badass, I'm not gonna lie. And on top of that, he is an epic ancient, which means you can level him up past the other ancients. And in addition, he's a dragon, which means you not only get the benefit of using him as an ancient, but also a dragon if you do choose to level him up. So pretty cool there. See, check out his spells. His first spell is Toxic Nova, which soaks the target area with poison, deals damage over time. Second spell, Poison Touch. For the rest of the battle, affected units will deal additional damage for 12.4 seconds on each target. And his final spell, 15 mana spell, is Expunge, which purges the poison that we use from the Toxic Nova for a huge amount of damage and removes the poison. Now, keep in mind a couple of things. First of all, you do need to use this or his dragon power, which is something I didn't mention yet. But basically, if you use him as a dragon, you could also poison targets by flying over them. So this could put your dragon at risk, but you can set up a good expunge spell. If you have 20 mana saved up, right? You have 5 for this, 15 for this. You could deal a huge chunk of damage. But I feel like Nocti kind of does the same thing with his Breath of Ra skill, which even at level 30, pretty much has the same damage, except we don't need to set it up with anything. So I think that's a little bit better, but he does have this second spell, Poison Touch, which adds a ton of damage to your units. Super, super good. Plus, you use him as dragon. So let's get into attack with him, see what the heck is up. Okay, guys, here we go. So we're going to place our Mauler down. Pretty standard attack strategy. Place a Mauler, followed by Wardens, then heal out my Mauler, something I don't always do, depending on the situation. Next up, we're going to place our Viscaria down. He is quite a tanky dragon. He's not, you know, as a dragon, he's not super tanky. He's not meant to be a tank, but he is probably one of the tankier dragons. So much lag, because I don't know why. I have so many troops down, I guess. But anyway, so what we could do is either use the first spell to then expunge, or we could use his fly spell and then expunge here. So you see the expunge did okay amount of damage. I feel like it could have done a little bit more. I would like it to do a little bit more while I'm using him. When someone is using him against me, no, I wouldn't like it to do more. But you can see it could actually do quite a big chunk of damage. Of course, it does require a little bit of setting up, but it's all good. Pretty good spell, pretty good ancient overall. Let's get into the next one. Next up, we have an ancient that some of you guys are probably sick of seeing, considering she is a common ancient. This is Kestra. So we get her all the time from chests. I don't know about you, but I do. So I have tons of nature Primus, but I don't love the nature ancients in general. So usually I don't spend it, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, let's take a look at her spells. First spell is Volley. Deals an okay amount of damage over 2 seconds. Not bad at all. Second spell is Confuse, which manipulates the defense, causing it to attack other buildings for 6 seconds while dealing double damage. Sounds good on paper. In my opinion, not so good at lower strongholds. Does get better over time as people get stronger buildings. And her final spell, Wind Fury, which empowers troops with Kestra's agility. Improves movement speed and attack speed for 10 seconds. So pretty much most of her mana is going to go towards this Wind Fury. So next up is her Spell Tower spell, Crippling Poison. The same thing as the other Nature Ancient, Rasmus. Nature Ancient, that sounds cool. Crippling Poison, affected units suffer damage over 7 seconds while attack and movement speeds are cut by 25%. So not that huge of a detriment, but can be useful in certain situations. It's not like my go-to for Spell Towers. I think there's better Spell Towers out there, but I mean, there's a time and place for everything. So with that said, let's get into attack with Kestra. Alright, so here we go, guys. Keep in mind, the first spell, Volley, I use it mainly as a finisher to finish off super, super low defenses. Second spell, Confuse. There's a couple different ways you can use this. So if there is a beefed up, say there's something crazy, like an arrow launcher boosted by a Primus Conduit. So arrow launcher has insane range, does good AoE, so it could wreck Wardens, and on top of that, it's Primus Conduit boosted, which means it's going to have even more attack speed, so it's going to do even more ownage. So this is a type of building that I would use Confuse on to not deal damage to their structures, but to prevent the damage from our units. Now, there are situations where maybe you want to go for something single target, like a Watchtower, so that it will deal good single target damage to one of their structures, but I feel like if you use Confuse like that, it's a little bit random because, you know, we don't always know which target the Watchtower is going to attack. It's just a little bit iffy. So, yeah, with that said, let's get into the attack. Going to place our Maulers down as usual. Pretty standard attack strategy. Going to follow it up with, oh no, they did get poisoned, I believe. Oh no, they didn't get poisoned. Okay, well, I'm going to follow it up with some Paladins to heal them up. I feel like, oh, the Death death tower is over there. Okay, so I was confused, but it's all good. We could also use this on a spell tower if there is one that's causing us or could potentially cause us a lot of trouble. And our final spell actually has a huge area of effect, so that is one good thing about it. Don't know why I'm lagging, unfortunately. That kind of sucks, but it's all good. We're doing okay. You know, she doesn't really have any sustain, any form of heal, any form of defense, really, other than the confuse. That's why I kind of like that on standby. But other than that, you know, she's just an okay ancient. She is a common, so she does hit a level 30 level cap, I believe. So not too great, but she has her uses. So with that said, let's get into the next and final nature ancient. I'm gonna cry. All right, so next up and finally, we have Rasmus, which is an ancient you get from doing the Arid Desert questline. So first spell, hallucinate, summons 4 illusions, level up, does scale with level for 6 seconds, confuse just like Kestra, and his final spell, refraction, affected units reflect 75% of damage back to attackers, 15 seconds. That sounds super sweet, but it's not so good at lower strongholds. Later on, it does get pretty good towards like stronghold 14, 15, endgame kind of stuff, but early on, not so good. And his spell tower, same thing as Kestra. So with that said, let's get into attack with him. Let's go. All right, here we go, guys. So what we're going to do is actually place down our illusions to kind of distract this catapult. Hopefully it pulls the focus of that away from our units. And then we're going to place down the rest of our units over here. That's kind of how you want to use them. You want to use them to not only soak up damage, but more of a distraction than anything. So now we're going to follow up. Oh no, my Viscaria. No, she's going to hit it by the sky tower, but it's all good. Okay, so now we have our spells ready to go. Going to save up for the 15 mana. Super lag because there's tons of stuff going on. Just burned 2 of them by accident, but it's all good. They don't overlap, so you want to save them like that. Once again, don't know why the heck I'm lagging. I think my phone needs to restart. But yeah, there we go, guys. So pretty simple. On more difficult bases, doesn't go as smoothly. Obviously, these illusions they don't get wiped out, but they just, I don't know, 6 seconds isn't really super long for them to be around, and they don't last that long. So yeah, that is general overview of the Nature Ancients. I will be doing, and I have done a specific guide on Erasmus, but I will be doing more specific guides on the other 2 Ancients, and more of a guide. This is just sort of my opinion, general overview. With that said, thanks for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like, rating. Truly appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching. Peace!